The June 2021 Classic Tetris Monthly Masters event was the first edition of the tournament in a very long time to feature a prize pool, drawing a couple of the top players who had been taking a break out of the woodworks, resulting in, well, some more world records. As always, if you'd like to see the full broadcast, with the original live commentary from Vandweller and Kibibite, I'll have the links in the description below. So, let's begin. The qualifying scores, of course, were really high, like they are every month now, but the real standout is Dog, who averaged almost 1.3 million across his 2 games, almost 100,000 points above the number 2 seed. And this would only be the beginning of Dog's accomplishments in the tournament. Although it wasn't just Dog who was impressive. In the round of 16, there were a ton of incredible matches that were worthy of making a highlight reel. Fractal161 had a precarious misdrop in the final moments of a game versus Nenu, but recovered to get the game-winning Tetris in a double max-out match. Dead Meme LMAO swept Cheese in an emphatic upset, wrapping it up in a bow with a clutch 1.1 million score in Game 3 that Cheese was unable to chase down and kill screen after overshooting the long bar on a level 29 Tetris. Vincent nearly pulled off an upset by almost beating Pixel Andy in a decider, but couldn't get an L piece over and ended up blocking as well for the final 2 available Tetrises. However, if there's one game out of all of them that had the most incredible nail-biting finish, it would have to be Sidnev versus Hufflepuffus. But before that, a quick message. As I mentioned in the last recap, I was able to retroactively give the same June prize pool to the 2 finalists in May, thanks to the network technology company Latui, which has sponsored a review of their latest release. Merge Go is a new free mobile game that hit app stores this week, but I was given a special beta version to test out. The starting premise is that you're in a corner of a corrupted forest with little monsters, and need to gather a bunch of resources that will allow you to eventually reveal the whole forest, and purify the items within so you can build a thriving society of monsters. Even though I basically never play mobile games, it didn't take me long to figure out the core concept of the game. If you have 3 of something, you can merge them to create something better. For example, the most abundant resource early on were tree stumps that would split into 3 pieces of wood, which could then be combined into a faint flame, of which 3 could be combined into an even bigger flame, and so on and so forth. The most important element of the game, though, is the monsters. Monsters can do things like turn a single plank of wood into a flame by itself without needing to combine 3, and also gather spirit energy from the flames to purify the forest. One thing that confused me early on is that the wilted plants seemed to not be combining with anything when I tried to merge 3 together, but then I realized that these were meant to be resources that the monsters can build into all sorts of things, and subsequently mine extra things from. Basically, the monsters are the key to progressing in the game. But their limiting factor is that they can only do a certain amount of tasks before they need to go to sleep for 20 minutes in a little bunker, and at the lowest level, each bunker can only recharge 1 monster per 20 minutes. So the gameplay at the beginning has a couple of things to balance: gathering coins and gems, which can then be used to buy space to store more coins and gems, more bunkers for the monsters to sleep in, and even additional eggs, which, once you match 3 of them, you get another monster. The monsters can even be combined to create evolved, more powerful monsters. Accumulating monsters is a necessity for several reasons. It unlocks further regions of the forest, and also factors into the multiplayer features. You can set up an army of monsters to go plunder other people's forests for resources, or put together a defense team in case anybody comes after you. But if attacking other players isn't your style, then you can join a union with other players to take on an evil boss together. But my favorite aspect of the game was just exploring the world and gathering monsters. The dozens of evolution levels for each item made it so that as the game got faster paced, I was always having fun with the additional things to discover. And the massive size of the forest world made it clear that it would take weeks or even months to explore it all. So if you'd like to download Merge Go, a link will be in the description. Alright, now let's take a look at Sidnev versus Hufflepuffus. Huff has a half Tetris score lead and an additional Tetris and pace lead, and both players are closing in on level 29, leaving Sidnev little time to make up the difference. And Huff is about to get another Tetris to go up 50,000 points now, and Sidnev fires right back, but now just has 1 Tetris before 29. Huff can't get a square over to the left, but is still gonna get a Tetris and still has enough leeway to get his stack to burn down and get a final Tetris into 29. Right as Sidnev does the same, so both players basically did perfect in the home stretch, meaning Huff maintained his Tetris and a half pace lead, but Huff is not going to be able to get any more lines on 29, and Sidnev keeps going. Sidnev 1 Tetris down now and suddenly decides to go for a Tetris and gets it! And burns a final single down to take the lead and win the game! Sidnev opted not to try and line it out and went for the risky Tetris, and it paid off. He would go on to win the match in 5 games. And I'm not gonna say it. As for Huff, well, I know it's not the outcomes he's looking for, but I'll say this. The recent highlights I think show just how strong a player he really is. It takes rare insane comebacks on level 29 in order to beat him. And in the top 8, Aaron faced off against the #1 seed, Dog playing Tetris. Aaron made his debut in the scene last year when he made it into the 2020 Classic Tetris World Championships after getting a new personal best during his qualifying session.
Okay, that's in! That's in! I'm in! I am so sure that's in.
Say something to the thing.
That's actually my personal best. Fun fact.
Over the following year, he's done a lot of work for the community, including being one of the team members updating the leaderboards that I frequently show in these videos. And in this set, against the toughest opponent possible, Aaron was having the game of his life in Game 2, with a monster pace that kept him around 100,000 points ahead of Dog for almost the entire game. By level 27, Aaron already has a 1.1 million score, an 80,000 point lead, and is looking to close it out. Dog is gonna get a Tetris, but Aaron burns a safe skim and fires a Tetris right back. Dog is now building up his stack again, has a perfect double wide well right above his Tetris ready lines at the bottom, and Aaron and Dog both fire off Tetrises, and Dog gets a second long bar to fill in the double wide well, and immediately rewarded with another Tetris. Aaron had no clean spot for a square and is now stuck managing a jagged stack, trying to find a spot in the center to build a center well. Gonna set up for a column 5 Tetris. Meanwhile, Dog has Tetris again to pull within 16,000. Aaron almost has the Tetris set up, there it is, but runs out of clean spots and can't get a T over to the left. And Dog has taken the lead with another Tetris, and Aaron tops out just as the long bar arrives one piece too late. And Dog isn't even done. A Tetris into 29 crazily is set up for a bonus Tetris. Can't get the long bar over for the 29 Tetris, but jumps up in amazement as this game set a new world record for the highest combined competition score of all time. At 2,427,040, it beats out the mark set by Eric and Jerpadude in the January Masters event by over 44,000 points. Dog would end up taking the match, but the competition continued to get stiffer as next he would have to face Eric ICX. Dog is ahead 2 games to 1, so Eric needs a win to stay alive, but is already down 60,000 points with a dirty top of the board. He's gonna get a Tetris to pull within 27,000, but Dog has a clean stack and a significant pace lead, almost 3 Tetrises. Eric is gonna do his best to start whittling away at the holes in his stack while Dog is ready for another Tetris. Dog has to take a few burns, although that's no concern, his pace lead makes safe survival the priority. Eric is getting somewhat helpful pieces that are at least allowing him to burn down, but all his lines before level 29 have been spent, and he's gonna need post 29 points anyway. He burns into 29 and gets a long bar 5 high right to burn down the stack. And Dog gets another Tetris, now 100,000 points ahead, and Eric has a tough hill to climb. Dog going all in for one final Tetris and gets it, not set up to score past 29, but he's done enough, as Eric will now need near the best post 29 game of his career to have a chance. But he's off to a good start. He gets his board clear for level 31, and now with that burn, 3 Tetrises would do it. But every Tetris after 29 is going to be inherently risky, and he still has some material to burn down to get clean again. Just barely gets the long bar all the way over to the left. Looks like he will try and primarily hack away at the lead for the time being with singles and doubles. Now at level 32, all Dog can do is watch. Eric's gonna need something to the left, and there's just not a lot of great options for it, except of course L's and squares. And he misses a long bar 2 high left and then hangs a long bar over 6 high left. That's gonna do it. Eric gives a thumbs up to congratulate Dog on the victory, but a valiant effort by every measure, almost hitting that 6 high left at the end, which is a minimum 18.5 hertz tap. And he's... no, still not gonna say it. Dog would end up going on to face Alex Thatch in the finals, which was an incredible matchup in so many ways. What made this an incredible matchup? Well, not only is it the current world champion against the world record holder for highest score in competition, not only were they ranked the top 2 ELO in the world at the time of the event, but their combined age is 25, far less than Tetris itself, and even less than my age. I'm 26, like come on, I shouldn't be made to feel like I'm old yet. In game 4, Dog is up 2 games to 1, and Alex makes what looks like a game-ending misdrop on level 23, but manages to shove a bunch of pieces to the left and hold out for a long bar and miraculously gets the stack down enough to survive. He does end up having to burn a lot as a result though, and going into level 27 he's clinging to a small 23,000 point lead, but is almost 5 Tetrises behind in pace. Alex needs to win this game to stay alive, so he's going as aggressive as possible, and Dog gets a Tetris to take the lead. Alex continues to build up, gets a long bar to fill his double wide well cleanly, but Dog gets another Tetris to extend the lead. Alex waiting for the long bar, it's not coming. Where's the long bar? He has to take a triple. Dog setting up the delayed T-tuck, and the long bar finally comes for Alex, but he can't get it over. But he gets another long bar are over the hump to get 2 consecutive Tetrises to survive and retake the lead, but Dog gets it back with a Tetris, and now Alex is up against the wall. 1 Tetris left before level 29, but nowhere to build it with that hole at the bottom of the board. Dog extends the lead, and Alex takes another double, and that's gonna do it. The board is too high up for him to get anything on 29. He still gets a max out despite all that burning and getting out of trouble, but Dog is just too good. He has won the Masters event yet again, and in fact, he's still going. Fandweller switches back from the winner's screen in the broadcast to see how Dog finishes it out, and Dog enters the thrill screen with 1.257 million, and he's set up to keep going. Lots of material on both sides for some accessible burns right away in the center, but he's aiming bigger. Gets some helpful squares, super aggressive longbar placement, and gets a second longbar for a Tetris, and with another burn is gonna cross over to 1.3 million. Only 24 players in the history of the scene have gotten a 1.3 million score ever, and Dog is continuing to storm past the mark like it's no big deal. Rock Solid gets a square 3 high left, into level 31 now, and no signs of stopping. That missed square over to the left could cause trouble. We'll need several ideal pieces to bring it down. Waiting for something good, opts to slot another square over there, gets a single, and another single with the L. He's nearly back down to safety. One more L would draw it down, but he doesn't have much time, opts for squares instead. Sees an opportunity, starts filling up the right, Tetris ready, waiting for it, and there's a longbar for the Tetris, almost at 1.4 million now. But those Z's in the middle are gonna be tough to build around. He's continuing to burn lines, but the board is starting to build up. There's not gonna be much more he can get over to the left, and Dog decides to call it, leaps up, and in one fell swoop, he has broken Alex's world record of the highest score in competition and taken back the #1 spot in ELO. And I'll let Kibby Bite and Van Dweller say it, as they did on the broadcast right after Dog's game.
And he's not even rolling.
He's not even rolling.
He's not even rolling. Wow.
Too bad that game doesn't count because we played Tetris Gym.
As always, I interviewed the finalists. Dog, congratulations on winning another CTM Masters event. Did you have a favorite game or match from this tournament?
I think it was definitely me versus Aaron, because the scores went really high, and Aaron, he started playing not too long ago, and he's improved a lot in that span of time from CTWC to now. So it's really cool how far he's gone and how high the scores went.
Yeah, so there you had a world record combined score with Aaron. At what point during that game did you realize the pace might be on, pace for something special?
So, the stream delay wasn't that bad, but I thought I was gonna lose because he was on a better pace than me. Whenever, I ended my game, I think he was around the start of 28, so I wasn't sure if I was going to win or not. That's why I had such a big reaction. The combined scored record didn't really, I wasn't really thinking about that until people said it in chat.
So with extended post-29 play becoming more frequent, have you reached the point where you can kind of mentally budget some points to get after 29 during a match? Or do you still try and always get a win before 29?
My tapping sometimes is really unpredictable. So I am definitely trying to get a win before 29. But of course, if I'm behind at 29, I'll try to get some Tetrises or some points, try to take the game.
So after you won CTWC 2020, it made you the world champion, but it also made you the #1 in ELO, which you noted that was what you truly cared about in the post-game interview with Arda.
You're actually the #1 in ELO right now as well. You've overtaken Joseph.
I mean, that's really cool. I mean, all I care about is I'm #1 ELO.
Really? You ain't care about world champions now. Gotta be #1 ELO, that's it.
Funnily enough, after this CTM finals match, you had been overtaken in ELO by Alex Thatch briefly, and with this finals match, not only did you become a CTM champion again, you also became #1 in ELO again. So this time around, which one means more?
Honestly, I think taking #1 in ELO probably means more to me right now, because me and Alex T have sort of been battling for #1 for a while now. I definitely don't think I'm going to stay #1. I think we're definitely going to start trading spots. So it will be really cool to see, watch that list, change.
You also run the tournament Classic Tetris Brawl. How has that been going over the past few months? Has there been anything super exciting?
Yeah, there's been a lot of exciting stuff. We had the Brawl Championships not too long ago, which Alex T actually won, and that was how he overtook me in ELO. The 2v2 tournament happened also not too long ago, which was very interesting. And you can watch the VODs of the tournaments that happened at twitch.tv/dogplayingtetris. That's where all the CTB events are hosted. And you can also join the CTB Discord and play in these tournaments put the link in the description.
All right, well, thank you so much again, Dog, for joining. All the links to his things will be in the description, and best of luck in the future. The CTWC season is ramping up. It'll be a treat to watch you going forward.
Yep, thank you.
Alex, congratulations on making it all the way to your first finals in the CTM Masters event. Did you have a favorite match or game from this tournament?
My favorite match was Game 3 against me and Dog in the finals. It was my favorite game because I had great survivals, like the level 24 miswrap recovery to get to a max out, while Dog popped off to get the comp 1.3.
So you're the current level world record holder with level 41 and have done some crazy chase downs after level 29. Have you reached the point where you can budget some points to get after 29 during a match, or do you still always try to get a win before 29?
During the tournament, my speed was really inconsistent. I had fast tap, but most of the time slow tap. Having slow tap made me slow that I couldn't doubt making a comeback with kill screen.
So in Game 4 versus Noodle, you were facing elimination and clutched out a victory with the Tetris into level 29 to win by only a few thousand points. What was going through your mind towards the end of that game? Did you know you had one more Tetris left to win it, or were you unsure until you topped out?
I wasn't pressured from the huge pace lead Noodle had. I thought I was going to lose with an effort. Then my friends in VC alerted me that Noodle had topped out and I just needed one more Tetris. I felt really happy to keep playing and eventually beating Noodle with a reverse sweep.
Do you always have friends on voice chat while you're playing?
Yeah, because I'm not watching the stream. My friend just tells me the scores and the player's pace lead.
That's pretty awesome. I bet that's super helpful.
Yeah.
So you've gone on a hot streak. You won Dog's Classic Tetris Brawl, and of course you made it all the way to the finals of CTM Masters. Is there any particular strategy or training regimen that you think has helped you be so consistent in winning matches?
My way to be consistent in winning is to have composure and play it out. I have experience with a lot of nerves and got rid of them by playing all kinds of tournaments like TTL and Gauntlet. With these experiences, I managed to climb up to a high ranking in the ELO chart.
Thanks so much, Alex. It's been awesome to see your rise as quite an exciting player over the past year, and I look forward to you competing in future tournaments and perhaps making your CTWC debut this fall.
Thank you for having me.
The average score in the 8 games for this month's recap ended up being well over 1.1 million. Pretty nuts. But the games for next month's recap ended up being even nuttier. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.